Welcome to Soltron. This is the video review for Mega Trucker. Here's a size comparison with the other metal card bots, and you can see he's bigger than a leader class figure. He's actually a little bit bulkier too, so he's actually a pretty good size. And before we go on, let's do one little update on Bluecop, of course, because of course I did something to him. So I did make it so his backpack could come off. So you just have to remove all these 6 screws. These ones in the middle are really hard, but you just pop those screws out and then you can unscrew this backpack, and now you have this guy, which is much more animation accurate. He looks a lot sleeker. He feels a lot better now without all that fiddly bit. Don't know if I'm going to keep this guy, but if I am, I'm going to trim down this plastic so this can flip more flush to his back. And then of course you have this huge piece of kibble, which is a huge chunk of his vehicle mode, but there you go. So there's like a cleaned up version of him. And I think this looks actually a little bit better. I wouldn't mind like a little bit of back kibble if this was managed better. So maybe I'll just mod this so that it folds up better. I don't know. Who knows? But I kind of, this figure's growing on me a little bit. So I had zero intention of buying this figure, but now that I have him, I actually like him a lot. I'm very surprised. I'm like really not into football or anything, but the design of this figure is pretty good. The aesthetics are pretty great. He doesn't have any like kibble hanging off of him. He's very clean looking, very blocky, but very stylized too. So I actually really do like his robot mode here. I would say he's probably an 8. He's pretty solid. Not one of my favorite designs, but pretty good, and the colors work really well too. I ended up with this figure was I bought this set on Gmarket, and I was hoping that all of these figures would come with Bluecop, but actually it's only Bluecop and you get one of these figures at random, which is really weird. So yeah, only 2 figures fit in here, because you can see like here was the box for Mega Trucker, and then Bluecop was the other half of this box. So you just randomly get one of these figures, which is a really weird system. And it also comes with this pack of cards, which I'll open in a minute. But yeah, it's not what I expected. I actually expected maybe they were going to be like smaller versions of the figures, because it was $80 for this set, which is not a bad price for 2 of these robots. But considering you don't know which one you're getting, yeah, it's a bit of a gamble. So I don't know. I would have of course rather had the ninja. The ambulance looks kind of cool too. Definitely the football player was my last choice. And then here's the box that came in there, and he's actually pretty accurate to his animation model. He's his head's a little bit smaller, which is fine. I think with a big bulky figure, I think it's actually better that they have small heads so they look more powerful. But otherwise, he's pretty similar, except for like his shield cannot be positioned like that at all. But it's actually not, he's really not that far off from his animation model. And I'm leaning towards keeping these figures, so now I'm going to just go ahead and open these cards and see what's going on here. Okay, so these come with like, yeah, mech card style cards. I don't know. They're very cardboardy. They don't feel very good in hand, to be honest. And then we get, of course, Mega Trucker. But yeah, these feel very cheap. I don't know. This doesn't feel like an authentic pack of cards. If we take a close-up look at his head, he actually does have pupils in this helmet, unlike the other guys. You can actually see he does have those big eyes, which is pretty cool. I actually kind of like it, even though it's kind of cutesy. And then looking at his helmet from the side, it's very much like a Mega Man helmet, so that really helps me like this figure a lot more. And then I did take off his gray grill, and he does have a full mask under there. So I guess if you don't like the football look, you can kind of remove this grill, but then you have a big gap here where the gray is. But yeah, he's got pretty good or actually, let's go over his accessory, which is kind of terrible. So it's got this big shield thing. I don't know what this is even supposed to be. I never watched the show, so I don't know. It looks like maybe a fan, but it also looks like a shuriken. It doesn't rotate though, so that's kind of annoying. Um, yeah, it's just a really weird thing that just clips onto his shoulder. There's no other place for it to clip. Like even it won't even clip onto this part even. It just doesn't fit anywhere. It can't be held in his hand at all. It's kind of a shield, which might be okay if he could actually like hold it on his hand or his forearm. It might look more like a shield, but he can only hold it up here, which I guess is cool for like tackling poses. So you can get him like in a shoulder tackle. But yeah, this is probably the worst of the accessories for all the figures. And then you just transform it by folding in all these little fan blades. You rotate these all the way around, and then you rotate these bits down here, and now it's card shaped. So you can attach his card to it, and then you have like a cool little display piece, which I think these are pretty fun. I really do like these, of course, because they're translucent plastic. But anyway, as far as articulation goes, he does have a good ball joint on the neck. He's got double jointed elbows for transformation, so he can definitely pose that. He does not have bicep swivel, of course. I could easily fix that by putting a ball joint at this joint right here, like I typically do. He does have waist articulation for the transformation, but it does like completely break the sculpt. It just doesn't look right, and it doesn't even ratchet into place. He's just like flopping around here. And then he does have full forward kick, full backward kick, full outward. So really great universal joints there. He does have a knee joint, but it only bends like 45 degrees because of this junk back here. You could unclip this and then unlock his full knee joint, but it's still going to look weird because his thighs are so short. And then he doesn't have anything in the feet. He's just got his transformation joint. And you can see he's got like this cleat detail. So very much football player, and he's got like these thigh pads. So I think they really carry off that look pretty good. And then some of the things that bother me about his design is his hands. It actually ends up looking like these are the thumbs. So it looks like both of his fists are backwards from this angle. So I might paint this fist guard to be orange so it doesn't blend in so much, because this is his thumb right here, but it looks like these end up being his thumb. So that's kind of annoying. And then another annoying thing about him is this part of his transformation. So he's actually pretty floppy, which hurts his quality. And then he's got these little panels that don't really clip in place. They just like hang out. This one especially is bad. And then these don't really tab together, unfortunately. So these are kind of annoyingly flopping around too. So he's got some floppiness. And then mine has like this bicep is not the best. I think something happened to my figure because he's got like super glue here. Maybe that's why they're repacking these figures. So his quality is not a 10 because he's got all these little issues and floppy bits just dangling. So probably maybe like an 8. Could be better, but overall the plastic feels good in hand. He doesn't have all those sharp edges that Bluecop has. Like all his plastic is nicely rounded and thick. So this guy I'm not as worried, even though it's the same brittle kind of plastic. I'm not so worried that he's gonna like fall off a shelf and something's gonna break off him. Maybe like this grill piece because that kind of sticks out. It's just, yeah, maybe like a corner of this or something. But yeah, he doesn't seem like he'd be very prone to breakage. So to transform him, you are actually going to collapse these bicep joints, and then you fold up the elbow joints and fold in the fists. And then of course that's just going to make your truck cab right there. And then you can rotate the head in, and then you're going to rotate this up here. And yeah, funny thing, I actually recorded this whole review and I had to do it again because I didn't even know that these joints existed. And I thought his arms were just really short the whole time. But no, he's got like really excellent proportions as we saw on the 360. So you just fold those up, and then he's got these little panels back here, and those are just going to fold around. And close up all these ugly joints down here and give him some windows. And then you just sandwich everything together, and that's already the front of his truck, nice and easy. And then you just rotate his waist around, get these panels out of the way, and you're just going to use this joint right here, and then open up the back of his calves, and then rotate the legs up. And actually, before you do that, there's one other thing you should do, is you should open these shins up, which makes a nice little gap in the back of his truck. And then you just sandwich the legs together on their clip. You're going to fold the feet inside the bed, and then this will clip into the cab, and then you're going to fold these dark gray panels. Now you have him fully transformed up. I don't know what kind of truck this is supposed to be. It looks like a construction truck a little bit. The color is definitely construction-esque. And then he's got like a bed for loading debris or whatever. He does look kind of like a garbage truck, and that's okay. I think that makes sense for this kind of figure. He's like a dump truck. And then the other thing you do is you like fold in these heels, which is kind of pointless. And if you fold in the heels, now you have this big gap down here, and then this almost looks like it would fit in here, but not quite. So I don't know why they didn't just make his heels bigger so that he could actually fill in this gap a little bit better, or make his heels more stylized to look like the back of a truck, because they might as well just stick out. There's no reason for them to collapse, because now you just have this ugly gap down here. When you do collapse it, that just doesn't look very good. But yeah, pretty great vehicle mode. He's cute, of course, because he's got his grumpy little eyes, but I think that's okay. I actually don't mind that too much. And he scales really well with your Transformers Deluxe. Lastly, let's get Bluecop back in there without his backpack. And you can see that he's pretty much too big to scale with this truck. Like, he's just kind of giant looking next to him, which is very strange because he's so much smaller in robot mode. But you can see he doesn't scale so good. But yeah, I actually really highly recommend this figure. I'm very surprised because I'm just not into football. I didn't really like the design, but he's got a lot of personality. I actually like him better than Bluecop, which was very unexpected. And I just love this truck mode. It's very futuristic, but yeah, they're just very cool looking. So I highly recommend him. You can try your luck on that 2-pack. But I would say this guy's definitely worth $50, especially because he's so much bigger than a leader class figure. Anything more than that is kind of pushing it a little bit. But yeah, chat with me in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.